why don't we go out for a nice stroll, she says, along the river. That'd be lovely. Yeah, so...
Yeah, it's not quite what we were expecting, is it?
It's not quite what we're expecting at all. It's exceptionally clayey.
It is very, very claggy in places, isn't it?
It is, very much so.
And we're constantly having to
dart from one side to the other. We've crossed this river about 28 times so far.
Approximately.
And as you can tell from the state of our shoes, it is not particularly nice out there, but it's a nice day.
Mine are looking especially nice.
Well, I don't know, mine aren't looking too bad.
Yeah.
So...
it is a lovely day.
It is a nice day, but unfortunately, it's not a nice walk.
Oh, that's a shame. I quite like the exploring bit, but the mud isn't great.
No.
Call it off, let it go, all for nothing. I should have known. I've made mistakes, crashed and burned, so many chances, no time to learn. I need to find another way to make things right. I won't be...
Tonight we are staying at a place called Campo, and it's only a couple of kilometres from the motorway, but it is lovely. It's actually heaving here as well. We can't believe how busy it is.
There are no facilities whatsoever.
No, nothing at all. It's about €8 a night, which isn't bad at all.
No.
But it is lovely and fantastic views across the valley. We've been for a really nice walk this afternoon. Roger didn't like it.
I was going to say, really nice, really.
I enjoyed it. It was kind of exploring up the river, and then we decided to cut it short and come back on the road, which was fine. But these views are lovely. And for the first time, you might notice as well, we are in T-shirts and we are sitting outside.
I know, it's amazing.
First time since we've been here. It is now the 29th of January. It's taken 25 days or whatever to be able to do this, but we are finally here. So we've been going very, very slowly on the motorway, and we wondered why. We thought it was an accident, but it looks like some kind of protest because all of these lorries and things. So we're now on the wrong side of the motorway. We're basically in a contraflow, and on that side of the motorway, which is the place we should be, there are hundreds and hundreds of tractors. There are also delivery lorries, anything to do with fruit and veg by the look of it. An awful lot of people out of their everybody's out of their tractors, out of their lorries, and they're just all parked by the side of the motorway, presumably trying to hold up traffic, I'm assuming. Some kind of protest about something. But I don't know what it's about, sadly. It says something on the back of some of these tractors about respecting food and veg or something like that. Fruit and veg, I think. But yeah, it's interesting. There's an awful lot of tractors on here. The odd car stuck in the middle. These people now standing here in their high-vis jackets, burning stuff by the side of the road. Interesting. Today and last night we camped at this farm, and this farm used to be well known for breeding bulls and also for horses that were involved in bullfighting, but obviously now that's very much on the decline, and the farm has turned its fortunes around by becoming a camping place. And it said online that last year there were 15 places, and this year there must be about 80 places here. The only downside, I would say, is that there's only 4 toilets and 3 showers.
They are meant to be upgrading, aren't they?
They are meant to be upgrading, but you know, that's not the best, is it really?
It's not. No.
I mean, we were up early this morning, so it didn't bother us at all. We didn't have to wait for a shower, which was good. But yeah, it's not the best in terms of facilities
At the moment.
At the moment, but it's look, the people are so friendly. Susanna and Olivier are their names, and no, Octavio, sorry, and just so lovely. Nothing is too much trouble. I had a problem with the washing machine yesterday. They sorted it out.
So Jill broke the washing machine?
I didn't break the washing machine. It took my money and then didn't basically come on, which was not a problem. But then they came and sorted it out, which was great. Yeah, just really, really friendly people. We did have to move.
And then Jill broke the electricity?
Because we were down in the bottom part of the campsite, and there was somebody booked in there, so we came up here. And actually, I think I prefer it up here. It's lovely.
Yeah, it is very nice.
Right next to the arena where the bull lives,
Yes.
although there's no bull in there today.
We don't think there is anyway. So this was is the arena. There was a bull in there yesterday, but there isn't today. Not that we can see anyway. But it is very, very popular, this campsite, isn't it?
It is incredibly popular, and the weather is fantastic today as well. So we've got the solar panels out to charge the box, and it's already gone up 28% or something, which is fantastic. We just had a very chilled out morning, haven't we?
We have, yes.
After our stressful week, we've had a very, very chilled out day. We're going to go for a little wander and just wander into the village and back again, but that's
And
about
you
as far
will
as we're going to go.
notice, for the first time this holiday,
We've got our
we've
shorts
both
on.
got shorts and t-shirt on.
And it's warm.
And it is nice. It's lovely.
Really, really warm. This is what we wanted, wasn't it, really?
It was. Showed like the last 4 weeks.
I was going to say, we've only waited 4.5 weeks for this. So today we have woken up in France. We've driven for 2 days from Spain, and we are now in Bonny-sur-Loire. That isn't the Loire River. The Loire River is further over that way.
No, that's a bit smaller.
That's a bit smaller, yes.
We hadn't intended to go quite as fast as we had, but obviously with the problems we had last week, we had intended for a far more relaxed journey.
Yes, we
north.
wanted to pootle through France, but actually it's not been nearly pootling. The last 2 days have just been kind of driving, really. But now we've got a couple of days of grace, haven't we? But what we wanted to say was that actually in Spain, you can't really wild camp. In fact, you're not allowed to wild camp at all. You can wild park in certain places, but that means to wild park, you can't have a pop top up, you can't have a step out, you can't have any chocks under you or anything like that. You have to just have it like your van is just there. But in France, and there's not very many free airs in Spain.
No,
There's quite a few airs, but they're all paying, and most of them are full in the south as well. In France, however, you can't wild camp or wild park, but there are quite a few free airs, and a lot of villages have their own little airs. And this is the one in Bonny-sur-Loire, and in the summer I imagine this gets pretty busy actually. So it says no camping this side for 250 metres, but you can camp that side. There's also over there's a drain to drain your grey water, there's a place to put your loos, and there's water and electricity as well.
And it's completely free.
It's completely free, which is wonderful. So this is where we spent the night last night. It was very quiet and peaceful, very, very cold.
It is cold again, isn't it? Yes.
Which we'd kind of forgotten about, having spent a couple of weeks in the warmer climes of the southern Spain. But it's a lovely place to be, actually, isn't it?
Yes. And there's, as Jill says, this is on the Loire, and there are cycling trails, apparently, that go on for hundreds of miles.
Yeah, so you can walk to the river up there. It's about 6 kilometres that way to get to the river itself in the next village. But yeah, there's basically walking and running trails and walking trails all around.
Yeah, very nice indeed. And as you say, these are dotted all over France.
They are.
Really good idea.
Yeah, it is a great idea because it stops people parking where they shouldn't do then as well. Today we are in Rouen. So last night we stayed at Bonny-sur-Loire and we drove about 4 hours, just over 4 hours to get here. And we are now in Rouen, and we've come out of the campsite and we're going to have a little explore of the town. We're basically camped at the port, which sounds a bit strange, but actually it looks very peaceful. It's very nice.
It does look lovely.
€15, including electricity, showers, toilets, rubbish, water, whatever you want.
Yeah, and it's behind secure things
it's locked,
as well.
You're locked in at night, which is good. So yes, it's very secure. I'd much rather be secure in a city, to be honest, as well.
Yes.
And now we're walking on the river to get into the town, and this is lovely.
So this river is?
The Seine. So we camped on the Seine the very, very first night we were in Europe in the snow, and now we are camping on the Seine again.
So 6 weeks ago or whatever.
Yep.
And here we are on the Seine again.
It's not snowy, but it's still pretty chilly, I would say.
Yes.
As we can see from the fact that we've got all our kit on again.
Yes. So last night, as you say, we were on a river, Loire.
We were.
I actually had a look to see if I could wanted any chateaux. And
this was to buy a chateau,
yeah, to buy
because
one,
we can afford it naturally.
Yeah. There was one I quite liked the look of, but you also had too many bedrooms for some reason.
Had 55 bedrooms and 50 bathrooms, and it was about €4 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, we haven't got
just been reduced. Just been reduced in fairness.
Oh, in that case, should we have it? Should we make an offer?
But yeah, very pleasant here, isn't it?
It is. It's lovely. Yeah, and it's nice because the sun's trying to come out as well, which is always good. So this is the Grosse Horloge, which means great clock, and it's an astronomical clock, and it dates originally from 1389, which is quite impressive. And that's a Renaissance arch over the old street there as well. And basically the clock was started by one man, who then discovered that he really didn't have the skills to finish it, so it was then finished by somebody else. And that somebody else was Joan of Arc, and he became the first person to hold the position of governor of the clock. There you go.
But we think it only has one hand, don't we? And it was intended that way.
Oh, well, it says originally that it was one revolution of the hour hand represented 24 hours. So I'm assuming that was what it was. And it hasn't said anything about that, since then. So it's quite impressive, though, isn't it?
It is very impressive.
So we are in Rouen, and this apparently is the place where Joan of Arc was killed. And we didn't know much about Joan of Arc, so we looked a little bit up. And in 1431, she was actually sentenced to death for being a heretic, which meant that she held opposite views to the church. And they sentenced her to death, and she was killed. She was burned at the stake here. And this is the Roman Catholic cathedral that was actually put up, or Roman Catholic church that was actually put up later on the spot where her trial, and she was then burnt to death later on. However, in 1431, she was killed. In 1456, they then pardoned her, because they realised they'd made a mistake.
Yeah, a bit late by
then, isn't it, really? And in 1920, apparently, she was made saint by the Catholic Church.
We now, unfortunately, have finished our holiday.
We have, sadly, yes.
And we are on the Eurotunnel on the way home.
But we just wanted to say that we've read quite a lot about the fact that people say, oh, the Eurotunnel's not flexible anymore, etc., etc. But on the way out here, we caught a tunnel that was more than an hour prior to the one that we were due to be on. And this morning we turned up at 9 o'clock and our booking wasn't until 11:45, and they offered us a tunnel that was 2 hours ahead of the one that we're on.
Yeah,
meant
exactly.
to be on. So I think it really does depend on how busy they are. It's not busy at all this morning.
No.
So presumably if you've booked, they just want to get you away and over the other side and out, out of their system, if you like.
Which kind of makes sense,
doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
And it's great for us. We don't have to hang around at the tunnel. We thought we'd get here early just in case. And as it transpires, it was a good thing, although we haven't actually left yet. We're still sitting at the platform, but we are on the train.
We are on the train, and we're hoping the train will leave relatively soon. You never know your luck. So yeah, we just thought we'd mention that, because a lot of people do comment on the fact that it's you've got no flexibility with Eurotunnel. But
they say it's changed, don't they?
Yeah.
So it's now February 26th, and we can only say as we find. So yeah, that's what we've got at the moment.
And as I say, I think in January, February, it's probably not too busy as it may be. Half term next week might be busier. I don't know. But I think if you're in the summer, you do have to turn up at the time you're meant to be here, which is fair enough, really.
Yeah.
So one of the things we did want to say was that yesterday we really struggled to find somewhere to stay that was near Calais, didn't we?
Yeah. So the previous day we'd spent in a very nice port.
Yeah, we'd stayed in the port in Rouen, which was lovely.
Yeah, it was lovely. And we then left aiming for a campsite. We went to the campsite and both said, actually, this doesn't feel quite right.
No, it didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I would have been able to feel like I was sleeping there, or like I was safe or anything. It just felt really odd to me. So we moved on.
And then went on to Park for Night to try and look for somewhere, and couldn't find anywhere at all, could we? Anywhere near Calais.
No, and there was a few Aires, but they didn't open till April.
No.
And there was it was not a great choice, was it? So we ended up sleeping in the car park of a sports centre, which was absolutely fine.
It was
We
fine.
didn't have any problem or anything like that. But it wouldn't have been how we'd have chosen to spend our last night, would it?
No, definitely not. So, yeah, it seems peculiar, doesn't it?
It does.
What we were after was somewhere a bit like Canterbury that we stayed in on the way out, which was a paid Aire that we could go to, and half an hour or so from Calais. We ended up actually 8 minutes away from the Eurotunnel, didn't we?
We did, yeah, which was perfect.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was not... It's always difficult when you're trying to sleep in a place that you know you probably shouldn't be, really.
Yes, yeah. But as you say, there was nowhere around there that we could sleep. So if anybody does know anywhere near the Eurotunnel that you can legally sleep, then
drop us a line.
Yeah, this time of year, January, February time, as Jill says, there's lots of places open in April to October, but very few places that we could find anyway at this time of year.